What was the biggest thing you worked on this offseason?
Oh man, I mean, the only real new addition to my workouts was a running program. And I've always enjoyed running, not long distance, but sprinting. So I was very, very consistent with that. I actually had a coach, and we had 3 days a week we would actually run, and other days I would run as well, but 3 days out of the week I was with him, which helps with endurance and, being able to sustain your strength and consistency through a season. So, I'm trying to be in that 7th, 8th, 9th inning every single start. So, the focus and attention to being able to not just feel good and feel explosive and athletic, but also have the endurance component to go with it was really important focus this offseason.
How early in the season is it a goal to go 7, 8, 9 innings?
How early in the season? I mean, out the gates, you want to be able to do that. I mean, every game counts and matters. Obviously, you got to keep things in perspective and be able to build in a smart way, so you don't go too fast and too hard out of the gates. But yeah, I mean, every game counts, and one game can make a difference in a season. So I want to be ready to go, first game to the last.
What have been your biggest impressions of Terry Francona, Hunter, and how do you translate the energy that's pretty apparent right now here in camp, carrying that forward into momentum into the season?
Yeah, obviously Terry's reputation precedes himself, and already a Hall of Fame manager. So to be under his tutelage and leadership and mentorship is a true blessing. And I think the biggest thing has just been his conviction behind everything that he's been able to share with the team. And you believe in that, you trust that, and you feel it. And every single word that comes out of his mouth has been very just strong, and the conviction behind it is exciting to be able to feel that support and that backing as a player. So once we go out there to play, you know that you have that support and that he's making all the right moves behind you, and you just go out there and you can focus and control what you need to control.
He's told us that everything he does on the field, off the field, sleeping, whenever it is, what time of the day, is all about winning game by game by game.
Sure.
How does that translate and impact you?
Yeah, I believe it. I think being able to have that mindset, especially through the length of the season, is super important. It's really hard to do, trying to stay fully present and keep that focus the same day in and day out through 162 plus games is really, really hard. But the fact that obviously he has the experience behind it of being a manager, especially with multiple teams, I know that he's in a really great place mentally. And for him to be able to kind of pass that focus and that expectation mentally to us is a great tool for us to continue to have as we go through our season as well.
How do you describe how expectations have changed going into this year?
I mean, I don't think the expectations have changed. I mean, we've always wanted to get into the playoffs and win a World Series. That's never changed. I think there might be a little bit more of a purpose and attention to that goal, and a little bit more focus just in what it takes to get to that. Whether it's the playoffs or the World Series, it's a little bit more specific and more detailed, than maybe in the past. But that focus has never changed. The expectation of us getting to the playoffs and winning a World Series, that hasn't changed since we've been signed. That hasn't changed since we've gotten into Pro Bowl.
Would you say it's fair to say that it's not about the what changing, it's the how?
Yeah, exactly, and I think Terry brought that up in our meeting the other day. Just having the right focus, and that word gets thrown around a lot. But if you know what you need to specifically focus on as an individual, and once that individuality becomes a team, then I think that's when you push forward and you start doing some pretty special things. So I think the attention to detail has just gotten more and more specific, and it's a clearer vision, if anything.
As a teammate, how has your role changed on this pitching staff, going from a young guy, now an all-star veteran? Are you taking a different role this year? Yeah, I mean, I've felt like I've been in a pretty special position from a leadership standpoint for the last couple of years now, which is kind of crazy to say, but I truly believe that. I believe that I've always been in that position from even before high school, and the strides that I was making compared to some of my other peers. I've always been in that leadership position, I feel like. So coming into camp, and especially this year, seeing the younger guys and Red and Aguiar and Chase and
even Chase Petty and some of these other guys, man. I mean, they're in a really good place, but I want to just be able to provide that support system behind them. Like I said earlier, Chase, you know, having him understand that he's already enough. It's just being able to tweak little things here and there. And I don't have all the answers, but I have some experience so far in my pro career, and I've been able to take some pretty good nuggets from other people. And I just want to be able to be that tool for other guys that they can lean on and trust, but also feel confident enough to talk to and communicate with as well.
Besides being a 7, 8, 9 inning guy, what other personal goals do you have for this year? Are there certain numbers you're trying to hit?
I'll let the numbers take care of themselves. I mean, I'm just trying to go out there and help the team win. I mean, I want to be in that 7th, 8th, 9th inning, you know, as much as I can, try and help the bullpen. I think when the starters are able to ride a little bit longer, the bullpen becomes better. Obviously from a health perspective of those guys being able to save some more bullets throughout the season, but also from a looks of hitters, you know, being able to save those guys on the back end where you're giving now another look deeper in the game, and maybe that guy only pitches once in a series instead of twice in a series, and that makes a difference between the season of seeing, you know, a guy for a second time and seeing maybe that same pitch that you saw in that last series instead of just seeing him once, and you don't have as much intel on that certain pitcher. So all of that makes a really big difference, but that's my main focus this year.